Watch this. I'm about to show you the single most valuable skill for mastering n8n, understanding JSON. JSON is the universal language that every app, API, and automation uses to communicate. Once you learn how to read and write it fluently, every single workflow you build will make more sense, run cleaner, and handle data exactly the way you want. So in this video, we're going deep, but in plain English, you'll learn exactly what JSON is, the building blocks like key value pairs, arrays, and objects, how to manipulate data directly inside of n8n, and how to use simple expressions to pull out exactly what you need, like splitting a full name into first and last. Let's start with the basics. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a structured way of storing and transferring data between apps. It looks like text, but it's organized so computers can read it instantly. Think of it like the English language for computers. So when two systems talk, whether that's Slack and Google Sheets or OpenAI and Supabase, they're both talking in JSON. So let's break down the JSON structure. Every JSON structure is made of key value pairs. So the key is like a label and the value is for the data. So for example, name is equal to Kris, age is 30, and subscribed is equal to true. The key is always in quotes because it's text, and the value can be different types. So text like Kris, a number like 30, true or false for yes or no. Now that you know what keys and values are, let's take it one step further, because this is where JSON starts to get really powerful. Arrays are ordered lists inside those square brackets. They can hold multiple values, even different types. So for example, skills might equal automation, AI, and Notion, all inside square brackets. That's how JSON stores lists like multiple products, emails, or even files. And here's where it gets even cooler. Objects are JSON inside JSON. So for example, you might have a person object with nested information where name is equal to Kris and you have my email is equal to kris@example.com and phone 123456. Each layer is wrapped in its own curly brackets. That's how JSON represents structured data like one record that contains smaller pieces of information inside it. Now let's look at how JSON is used in APIs. Anytime you make a request like fetching a user or adding a record, you send the data in JSON and you also get JSON back. So here's an example. The request asks for a user's details from an API endpoint. The response returns JSON in ID, name, email, is active, and even roles. These roles might even be an array, such as admin and editor. The point is, this is how every integration works behind the scenes. So let's bring it into n8n and see it in action. So I want you to start with a manual trigger. Next, we're going to add an edit fields. So the first thing I want you to do is to click on add fields, and we'll type name. We'll put the data type as string, and the value will be Kris. Now let's add a second field. So we'll call this one age. The data type will be number, and we'll make it 30. Finally, let's add our third field. So here we'll go subscribed, and we'll change it from type to boolean, and we'll put true. When you run it, n8n automatically converts it into JSON. So when I click execute step, I can automatically switch between the schema view, the table view, and the JSON view to see how the data is actually formatted. So what you're looking at here is the JSON output from our workflow. It's showing one item, which means one record of data. Inside the square brackets, we have an object. That's everything between the curly brackets. It has three key value pairs. Name is Kris, age is 30, and subscribed is true. The square bracket means that this data is part of a list, even if there is only one item right now. If we added more records, they'd simply appear inside these brackets, separated by commas. So this structure tells us that the output is an array that holds one JSON object with three simple pieces of information. So now let's transform it. I'm going to go ahead and add my last name to the name field. So it'll be Kris Torrington. Click on execute step so that our JSON output is updated. So let's exit out of here, and I want you to click on the plus sign and then search for another edit field set. Here I want you to click on add field, and we'll call this one first name, and then add another field afterwards and call it last name. Now drag and drop the name field to the value section for both of these fields. So right now, both of these fields contain our full name. So to fix that, what we're going to use is the split function. So you click on dot split, and then click on apostrophe, add a space, and then go outside the bracket, and then add a square bracket, and we're going to select the first name. Now let's do exactly the same thing for our last name. Click after the name, enter dot split, and then go inside the brackets, add apostrophe space, and then go outside the brackets again and add a square bracket and add 1. Now make sure there's only one bracket, and now you'll see we're retrieving my last name. Now when you hit execute step, your output should show first name is Kris and last name is Torrington. So let's go see that. This is a really simple way to transform text into structured data using just a small expression inside of n8n. No code needed. Now that we know how objects work, let's take it a step further and talk about arrays, because this is where most people get confused. So I've set up a new example here with 3 different people combining to one merge field. Each person has a first and last name, so Kris Torrington, John Smith, and Jennifer Best. And then I'm using a merge node in append mode to combine them. I'll then add a code function, and then make sure you select code in JavaScript, and then paste this JavaScript. So in this step, I'm using a code node set to run once for all items, so it combines everything from the merge node into one clean JSON object. The line const people grabs all of the incoming items and turns them into a single array called people. It then wraps that array inside one JSON object and sends it forward as a single item. So instead of 3 separate outputs for John, Kris, and Jennifer, the workflow now outputs one item containing all 3 people inside the people list. So you're taking 3 separate people that were flowing through our n8n workflow one by one, and now we're combining them into one JSON object that holds them all together in an array. This is super useful when you want to send everything at once. So for example, to an API, to Supabase, or to OpenAI as a single list. The output is now a single JSON object that contains one key called people, and inside that key is an array of all the individual person objects. Each person has their own first name and last name fields. So instead of 3 separate items, everything is combined into one structured object, making it easier to send or process as a single payload. Now, let's go over our 4 simple rules to keep your JSON valid. Rule number 1, keys must always be in double quotes. Rule number 2, values must be valid types, such as a string, number, boolean, or even an object or array. Rule number 3, separate each key value pair with commas, except for the last one. And rule number 4, always wrap the entire structure in curly brackets. Follow these and your data will never break. Rule number 3, separate each key value pair with commas, except for the last one. And rule number 4, always wrap the entire structure in curly brackets. Follow these and your data will never break. So if you ever felt intimidated by JSON, don't. It's not coding, it's communication. And once you speak it fluently, n8n becomes 10 times more powerful. You can download all of the example workflows and JSON snippets from my automation vault at www.kristorrington.com. And if you found this helpful, hit subscribe, and don't forget to follow for more n8n tutorials. See you in the next one.